We have?
Yes,
Kathy, I got a letter of Kimberly does for you.
It's here.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
very much.
Do what, Jane?
On our last recreation meeting, we talked about this VFW ball fields. There's gonna be some money, and we decided that's the ones that needs it bad. We've got
Needs what bad?
fence.
Yeah, and they put in for a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much was that grant for, Jane? You remember?
No, I don't run off there, but it's at your smart.
It doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it. It's the Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Places grant. So, you request what you want, and then they'll come back, and if they approve you, they'll tell you how much it'll take for them to do that. So it's,
And that's a good location for the smaller kids to play down there in the field.
And it's in bad shape, it's rusty,
Yeah.
and it needs it bad.
And that's the reason we held off also that and that park on paving, is to see if we get this grant to upgrade those fields, and then we just pave that whole street down there.
Yeah, it just dust everywhere.
Yeah.
They gave us that street in, didn't they?
Well, they didn't give us, we
We got it now. It's
yeah,
on the
it's
decision.
bumps that. Anybody else got anything?
I talked to you a little bit about this, but I thought I'd bring it up on, just because I think it's a matter of discussion that we need to think about. And Chris may know something about this, but do you know of anything that prohibits within our ordinances that prohibits lengthy times for non-permanent structures like a camper on a property once a building permit's been issued? Anything, is there anything that you're aware of that's within that? I know that we've sort of dug on, I couldn't find anything that's definite. Have you all yet?
You can't sit on a permanent basis, you can't sit a mobile home. It would have to be something that would be considered for R5, I believe.
But like
the trailer park.
What me and you were talking about the other day with like these, I know for sure of at least 3, if not 4, inside the city limits that have a camper there that are hooked up to sewer, hooked up to a temporary power pole, that have been there in excess of a year's time. And at one point I thought we had a year on something like that.
I was,
I know the permit lasts for a year, but I didn't know if there's any kind of prohibitive language in our ordinances that say you can't just live in a camper on a residential lot in the city limits.
That might be more appropriate for the building inspector to keep running, because the building code may prevent that. I don't think you can have a temporary structure there. He could refuse to extend the building permit unless arrangements were made.
And I think that's what's going on, is that the building permit's been, in several of these instances, the building permit's been applied for, granted. They move a camper in to have there to stay while they're building, but we've got, I know, at least 2 that have been under construction inside city limits with campers sitting on the lot connected to city utilities for well over a year. Houses there that, still house wrap and all that, and I don't know what, and it's not anything, specifically that I'm personally like totally against or totally for. I just think it's something that we need to be aware of as a board, because before long, if we don't figure out what it is, I think at some point you're going to start seeing that more and more, especially if
well, I would think all we issue a building permit for is a calendar year.
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken.
it is a calendar year for
So
sure. It is. But I don't think there's
there's
any language in there, any prohibitive language about having a camper on your property during that time. And so that's what's happening with these campers are coming in. Either no structure's being built at all, like up on Marsh, there's no structure built whatsoever, not even began. They extended the street once we gave them permission to extend the street. They got the sewer tap. They've got a PVC pipe going from their camper into and discharging into city sewer.
But are they paying the sewer bill?
They are. And that's why I'm wondering, because I'm getting asked these questions of, is there anything that prohibits that or not? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is there will.
But how could they have sewer there if they've not got a structure there? Then we should not put a lateral there Well, actually, the structure's built, so how did they add sewer there?
They paid for a tap.
Because you have to pay for a sewer tap when you pay for your building permit,
Okay, but
and you're charged as soon
But-
as you pay for that permit.
did we go in, get that address, Will, from Michael, if you don't care?
I know where it's
Because
at.
normally we don't put a tap in. I know they pay a
Right.
tap fee, $1,980 when they come in for a building. I know that.
I don't think there's any language in the, even in the zoning ordinances, unless that's been changed, that, again, is any kind of prohibited language on RVs, so to speak, is there?
If it's considered a mobile home,
Yeah.
so.
So,
like
but there's
any
nothing
trailer
that's,
parks in
that's not
town.
mobile home though, that's just, we're talking RVs.
True, but still yet it's readily can be moved.
Yeah.
Just like a mobile home, take part of the foundation away, jack it up, whatever, put the wheels under it, you can take it, move it. It's kind of the same thing with a mobile home, or excuse me, an RV.
Are we talking single wide,
Yes, so
not
like,
double wide?
so like, I'm just giving you for an example, trailer park that we had that was torn down recently.
Right.
If that gentleman was so inclined, he could move he could move the same kind of thing in there. RVs or.
Up to a year after he moves them out,
Up
right?
to a year, yeah.
But if he, and Will, how's that work? If, I know like I said, our building permit's on issues for a year.
Okay, when building permit is issued, if construction is not started within 180 days, that building permit becomes invalid. And I know at the end of a year, they have to come back in and try to either get another building permit or get an extension.
But that's not relative at all to
To
an RV being on a lot.
as I've talked to some people, now I don't know this to be the case, but they've been given permission on a temporary basis to be allowed to do that while they're
Yep.
building so they could be there with their stuff. That's reasonable, but
And
after so long, they're not
That
being
gets to
reasonable.
where I think my point is on this,
Yeah.
is that I think that's where we as a city get in trouble on things like this. Because we don't have something in writing, and
Yes.
then you get into who said, he said, she said,
Exactly.
they stayed longer, they had to move their crap out.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I wanted the board to hear about, because I think if we're going to allow that, there's nothing that I have found, unless I'm just ignorant on this, and I don't feel like I am, that prohibits an RV on a site, on a vacant lot, anything whatsoever in our language. So if we are going to allow it, I think it would be best interest of all of us as board members to have it in writing what the city allows during that time. I don't have personally a problem if you want to pull an RV on there, build your house while you're building it, but if you pull an RV on there and it sits there for 2 years, your intent is to stay in that RV. And I know there are 2 of them that are permanently living in the RV. Again, do we want that as a city? That's not just my decision, it goes for everybody, but, I think it's something that we certainly should cover our hind ends on, if nothing else, so.
And I think we can cover it, Chris, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think we can cover it under asking for a building permit. If their time is run out, it's run out. And that's the bottom line, and
I guess we would have to visit it from the standpoint of, how can we make them finish the construction if they,
well, from what you're saying on one instance here, they're not even started construction,
More
right?
than one.
They ain't even started. So, Chris, that's the problem with the city.
And I know
here, that should be.
I know how touchy this subject is, because, I get it all the time, being in the real estate business. This is my property, I should be able to do what I want to do. And there's parts of me that agree with that wholeheartedly. This is your property, you paid for it, you pay your taxes on it. What my main concern is not what your personal feelings are, or whether somebody should be allowed to have an RV on a lot right next to your house. What my feelings and concerns are is, what is our standard as a city? And what are we going to allow versus what are we going to enforce, so that there's not, he said, she said, this person got favoritism, that person was allowed to leave theirs for 18 months. Why? Because I said they could.
I think you got code already in place that deals with that outside the building permit, because you can't set up a mobile home.
Well, I know,
and
I was
hook to
told I couldn't
utilities.
discharge mine.
That changes it. You can pull, as long as the camper or mobile thing is there and it's not hooked to utilities, it's just a vehicle.
Yeah.
But if, once you hook to that, you would have to have a permit
Well, I know
for it.
that I was told that I can't pull my camper home and discharge it into city sewer. I've got cleanouts all throughout my property, and I was told you can't just bring your camper home, hook it up, and wash it out into city sewer. There was something with EPA or something that that prevents that. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but that was what I was told by a previous employee, so I don't know.
That would make it permanent if you're doing that, because you're attached to the, like you said, the water, sewer, that makes it permanent. Now, anybody can put a camper on their property.
Yeah.
Because like we have discussed in the past, if a man decides he's got a camper in his yard and it's set up, it's not hooked to anything, he wants to go out there and sleep in his camper, or watch TV, watch a ball game, whatever, he can do that. But I think it's coming down to when you're permanently setting that thing up to be hooked to.
When that is the only structure on the property.
Exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying on that.
And like I said, I don't want anyone to misconstrue thinking that I'm saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be able to do this on your property. That's not it. I think that I'm just asking for some clarity as a board that we decide
What do
together
you think, Chris?
what's best suited for the city limits.
I think Chad's correct that we have safeguards in the code to prevent that from it becoming a permanent
Can
structure.
you look at that?
I'll look at it.
Okay. Maybe get some clarity on
Yeah, I mean, even if we have to put it in as an ordinance, tacked on to something that.
it. Because this individual, I remember we extended, I know one of them you're talking about
Yep.
a few years ago, and I thought they was done a house built on, you tell me how you started.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the purchase of it in 2021.
And what I would do, if you don't mind, is those properties you're discussing, if you'll give them to the city hall, we'll look at them, and we have every right, if the time is run out, to withdraw that building permit, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, and I would think we'd have the right to cut the sewer off.
I was thinking the same thing too. Yeah. So if you get some permission, we'll take care of it. Anybody got anything else? Anybody in the audience?